Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spirit Side Podcast. I'm Paul James Caiden, and today we are continuing the Halloween Week podcasts. And you know, what's one thing that most everybody enjoys at Halloween time? A good, scary movie. There's so many people out there that are fans of Friday the 13th, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, the list goes on and on of Hollywood movies and monsters that people watch every year this time. I'm one of them. There are certain movies that I watch every year as a tradition. So I thought it would be fun in this podcast to ask the question, what if these Hollywood monsters were real? And I made a list of some of the top, much-loved Halloween favorite ghouls and monsters. And we're going to ask, what if they were real? What would happen? And much like the Extreme Haunts podcast, I'll have a little commentary about what I would think and what I would do, which in most cases would probably get killed and die, but I can dream that I'm more of a man than I actually am. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the list. And of course, audience participation. Comment below, send me an email, let me know what you would do if some of these creatures of the night were actually real, lurking around out there under the full moon on All Hallows Eve. So let's start off with the all-time favorite, iconic, classic Halloween serial killer himself, Michael Myers. Now, most of us are familiar with Michael Myers, the masked serial killer. He never speaks. He just kills. Now, the thing with Michael Myers, in the original Halloween 2, and the franchise onward, Michael Myers was much like Freddy Krueger. Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, in that Michael Myers was immortal. He was unkillable. You could stab him, you could shoot him, you could throw him over a cliff, you could run him over with a car, whatever you did to Michael Myers, he would always come back. But now we've had a remake of Halloween. Well, not a remake, but a sequel, Halloween 2018. John Carpenter, who made the Halloween movies, says that he wasn't satisfied with the original Halloween 2. He said he was kind of pressured from the studio. They wanted a sequel. He wrote it very quickly, and there were things about it he just didn't like from the get-go. So he's actually a lot more satisfied with the 2018 sequel to Halloween. And there's going to be 2 more movies following that. 2020, there's going to be Halloween Kills, and 2021, October, is Halloween Ends. So far in the 2018 mythos, Michael Myers is not immortal. He's evil. He is I think he's described as being so evil that he is just a mind of evil that is completely void of what's happening with the physical body. And this is why he can take so much punishment, but he's not indestructible. He's not unkillable. So we have to talk about that first to decide which Michael Myers we're going to face here. And I think both. I think both. What if the immortal Michael Myers was real and alive and after you on Halloween trying to, cut you up into little bitty pieces or carve your face like a jack-o'-lantern. He would be rather tricky, if not impossible to get away from, because no matter what you do to this dude, he just keeps coming. I suppose, again, if it were me, yeah, that would be scary to have a knife-wielding, super strong, unkillable maniac chasing you through the night, stopping at nothing to end your life. I suppose my initial thought would be, I would try to decapitate this dude. Somehow, some way, set a trap, incapacitate him. I mean, when he gets shot, he goes down at least for a few minutes. If he gets stabbed, if he gets shot, it's like he's unconscious for a few minutes and then he comes back. So I guess I would try to render him unconscious and then decapitate, dismember, get him in little pieces and burn the pieces like a traditional vampire. That would be my plan. Whether I would be capable of actually pulling that off and not getting killed in the process, well, that would remain to be seen. But I'm imagining this would be extremely hard when you're up against something or someone that is immortal. You just can't kill it. And even if you were to chop him up in little pieces, would he somehow come back, reassemble, resurrect? I mean, in the original Halloween 2, he was blown up. But then in Halloween 4, he came back. He was burned, but he was still alive. He was still unkillable. Even though he was blown up, he was on fire, he fell down, he was burning, he was incinerating. He was still alive. So would my plan work? Again, that would remain to be seen, but it certainly would not be fun to be being stalked on Halloween night by this dude. By no means would that be fun. And with all my planning, I don't know. Unless I had some good helpers to help me pull it off. Like I said, at 50-50, I guess, or maybe 60-40, would I be able to pull it off and survive? I don't know. As you get older, your reflexes slow down. You start to seize up a little bit. You can't throw a punch as well as you used to. You're not as agile as you used to be. So I'd have to try to outthink Michael Myers to go toe-to-toe or try to take him out that way. I'm dead meat, man. I'm done. But what do you guys think? What would your plan be to deal with the immortal Michael Myers? A guy you can't kill. But now, on the other hand, if you're dealing with the very mortal Michael Myers who can be killed, but he can take an extreme amount of punishment, again, that would be probably my plan if I could pull it off. Break bones, break knees, sever limbs. What a subject for a generally usual spiritual podcast, severing limbs off of serial killers. But yeah, it's kill or be killed. And in that case, you would have to do what you would have to do. And if my life or my family's life were at stake, I'd do my best to take this extremely evil person out. And again, for very mortal Michael Myers, it would be a similar plan, but I think he would be certainly a lot easier to slow down and incapacitate if he's mortal. if you break an ankle, you happen to break a knee or an arm, that's going to slow him down. He's not going to be immortal, just walking right past that, somehow healing from the injury, not being affected by it. So I would probably stand a better chance. But even in Halloween 2018, Michael Myers is older. He's institutionalized for 40 years. He gets out. He goes after Laurie Strode again, but he's still extremely quick. He's very strong, and it doesn't look like his reflexes slow down with age at all. I'll tell you that. And he can still take an extreme amount of punishment. So again, pulling that plan off would be the thing to be revealed in the end. Could I actually do it? Again, so what do you think, and how would you deal with Michael Myers? And would you be afraid? I certainly wouldn't be a happy camper if he was after me. Yeah, that'd be kind of scary. Number 2 on the list, let's talk about the iconic haunter of dreams and bender of reality, Freddy Krueger, the Dream Demon. Now here's a guy who haunts you in your sleep. He comes after you. He bends reality. Things become very bizarre, very creepy. And if he kills you in your dream, you die in reality. Now, Freddy Krueger is from the classic Nightmare on Elm Street series. And I liked Nightmare on Elm Street number 1, the very first one. It was scary. It was creepy. After that, just my personal take on the movies, they got too silly. And I always remember saying, Freddy Krueger turned into this, he started out being this scary figure in Nightmare on Elm Street. But then when we got into 2 and 3 and so forth, he became like a horror version of the Muppets. Always with the bad jokes and one-liners. And, that just really... It's hard to find it creepy when the thing or the guy that's trying to kill you is telling knock-knock jokes. It just doesn't work for me. But the concept is creepy, stalking you, haunting you in your dreams. You can't sleep. If you die in your dreams, you die in reality. That would not be a pleasant entity to be haunted or stalked by any means on Halloween or any day of the week or any day of the year for that matter. How would I deal with Freddy Krueger, me personally? Wow, I don't know. I sometimes in the Nightmare on Elm Street mythos, if you're not afraid of him and you have certain defenses in your dreams, you can kind of beat the crap out of him. Maybe even end him or get rid of him. Nobody was ever really successful at that. Maybe short term. I have had an interesting thing since I was about 15 years old. Sometimes if I'm having a bad dream or a nightmare where I can kind of realize it's a dream and I can transform myself into like a superhero or, have these awesome telekinetic abilities. A few times at one point when I was younger, I would turn into this, very huge, very strong werewolf and just pulverize whatever was after me. So I suppose I would try something like that to try to know this is a dream state. This thing is after me in my dreams. So can I kill it in my dreams? If I use some kind of defense mechanism like that, can I stave it off? That one would be very bizarre. I don't know how long I could go without sleep. Eventually, I probably would. I mean, because what's your quality of life? If you try to stay awake forever, you're not going to feel very well. You're going to nod off eventually. So I guess eventually I would just say my prayers, make my peace, go to sleep, and see if I could make it out alive. But nobody in the movie was ever really successful, again, at least not long term, in beating Freddy down and getting rid of him that way. So what's to say that I would? I could try my best. I could use my imagination and my dreams. But I'm going to say probably 9.5, 10 times out of 10, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to fail that one. As my grandfather used to say, I'm going to wake up and find myself dead. But yeah, that would probably be the end of me. There's not much. I don't know if there's much you could really do to get rid of that one. That one would be hard. He would not be a pleasant Hollywood creature to deal with, unless he's after me telling all these one-liners. Then he defeats himself, because I'm going to think he's relatively stupid at that point and not scary at all, and just dude, you're not scary. Pack it up, go home. You might as well send Kermit the Frog, to try to take me out at this rate, because this isn't spooky at all. I think I would find that a little ridiculous, as I did in the movies. But again, how about the audience? How about you guys? What do you think of Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street? And what would you do if you were being haunted by such a creature, such a being, in your dreams at night? How would you try to deal with this creature? Number 3, we got to throw in this. This is a classic for a lot of people at Halloween: the zombie, the flesh-eating zombie. Well, when we're talking about the zombie apocalypse, zombie takeovers at Halloween time, you have to consider, kind of like Michael Myers, 2 things. Because in the world of, the living dead and zombie apocalypse, there's 2 kinds of zombies. There's the shambler, which doesn't walk very fast. He kind of shambles after you. You can outwalk, you can outrun. If you were on a bike, you could outride rather easily. They're not very fast unless they catch you by surprise from behind, or you stumble into a whole herd of them, and it's hard to, get away and beat them off, and they get a hold of you. Then you're lunch. But then there's category number 2 of the zombie, which is the runner. It's dead, but it doesn't shamble. It runs. It can run after you. And it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get winded, because it's dead. Either way, I don't think a zombie apocalypse would be a very pleasant way to spend Halloween, or, again, any day of the year. But I suppose if I had to choose one, I would choose the shambler. Because with these kind of zombies, they're not fast. They're not strong. They kind of shamble along. As you see in the movies, people, board up houses. They go in malls and board up the mall. And, they can kind of, a little bit easier to survive, a little bit easier to protect yourself against. I think I would stand a much better chance surviving the shambler zombie apocalypse, at least for a while. Unless I stumbled into the big crowd, the big herd of them, then like anybody else, if they got a hold of me and dragged me to the ground, I'm done for. I would do my best to, not let that happen. But If it's one or two or three or even five, coming after you, you can generally get away. You can walk, you can get away from them, you can run. You stand a much better chance to getting to shelter and blocking them out. But now the runner, straight up, I think I'm a dunner. Because, hey, I'm not a running kind of dude. I used to jog. I haven't done it in a lot of years. I'm not running very far. I'm not running very fast these days. That's just my sad reality. Now, of course, some people, can run longer and run faster, but eventually we're all going to get tired. If we're running, whether we can go a short distance, a long distance, we're going to get tired after a while. It's not like Hollywood where there's a 20-minute chase scene and they're running down the streets and jumping roof to roof and climbing over fences and nobody's even breathing heavy by the time the chase is over with. That's just unrealistic. You're running at pretty much top speed. You're tripping, you're falling, you're trying to, outmaneuver these running zombies. You're going to get mighty tired after a while, but they don't. So they're fast. If there's a group of them, they're fast. Even if you're running and one comes up on the side of you or ahead of you, that's going to be hard. The running zombie, much harder to keep out of an area because they can run, they can jump, they can get some force behind their body. They can get through windows, they can smash through doors, they can break down your barricades with enough of them. A lot harder to fend off. They're a lot more fast, they're a lot more mean. I wouldn't be happy in a running zombie apocalypse. So straight up, yeah, I would. I think I would be toast pretty quick, literally. My best plan for that scenario, lay low, keep quiet, try to have a vehicle, a car, as long as the gas is good that you can put in the car. The apocalypse doesn't last so long that the gas spoils, like on the Walking Dead. And yeah, a little something around me to get from point A to point B. But still, if you're driving down the road and you get into a big herd of them, you're still probably not gonna make it out of there alive. But at least you have a chance of trying to turn around and go the other way and get away from them. So I would try to lay low, travel light, travel quietly, and just try to survive as long as I could, because once I got a crowd of them on my tail, yeah, I think I would be done. Because these things, they don't get tired running around. I'm going to get tired running around. I don't know about you. But again, what would your plan be for the zombie apocalypse? The shambler and the runner. And also we would have to consider, in most zombie movies, it's, you destroy the brain, you kill the zombie. But there are some zombie movies, like Return of the Living Dead, and there's a couple others out there where that doesn't work either. They're just dead. You kill the brain, you don't kill the zombie. You just piss it off. So, that's one we'd have to consider. Are we in an apocalypse where kill the brain, kill the zombie? Or kill the brain, the zombie keeps coming because it doesn't matter. Again, it would up my chances a little bit if we destroy the brain and kill the zombie. If we destroy the brain and the zombie keeps coming, I'm zombie sushi. Probably a lot quicker in that scenario. So, hey. They would be sending me to the spirit side and turning my body into a damn good meal, or turning it into a zombie, and then I join the undead horde. Wouldn't that be something? or not. But again, what do you guys think? And how would you handle any of these zombie scenarios? Here's a quick one to throw in, just because it is a Halloween classic for a lot of people, and that's The Exorcist. What if you were locked in a room, or put in a room, with a girl possessed by a demon who did the things that Linda Blair did in The Exorcist? That wouldn't be fun. There's two options for me in that one. That is, if you're not locked in the room, run like hell, get out of there. I could possibly survive that. If I could make it out of the room and get the hell out of there, I'm golden. If I can't get out of the room and I'm locked in with this, possessed person, well, you got two options. Then you can try to, actually three. You could try to pray your way out of it, reason your way out of it. The demon's intelligent, so maybe you could, talk it out of not, killing you. Or you could take the ultra coward way and just fall down, play dead, act like you're unconscious, and hope it works. But I would bet it probably wouldn't. But either way, with the door locked or unlocked, escape route or not, I, pardon the pun, sure as hell would not want to be put in that room or any room with the Exorcist girl. No way. The power of Christ would compel me to stay away from that. What about the Jeepers Creeper? Has anybody seen Jeepers Creepers? The demon bat-winged gargoyle-looking creature that every 23rd spring he rises to feed for 3 days, and he feeds on humans. And if he needs a new arm, he eats somebody's arm and he grows a new one. He needs a new eyeball, he eats somebody's eyes, he gets new eyes. So he continually regenerates himself by eating human body parts. He can fly, he's strong, he's got weapons that seem to have this telekinetic ability, knives, throwing stars, spears. He's incredibly accurate when he's throwing these things at you, and they can travel great distances. It's like you could run a quarter of a mile. If he throws one of these things at you, quarter of a mile later, it's still behind you. Your best bet is to try to hit the ground, dodge it, let it bypass you. But yeah, he's extremely good with his weapons. He's a very very tough creature. You can injure him, but not kill him. You can cut off his legs. He'll eat someone and grow a new one. Cut off his head. He'll eat someone and he'll devour someone. This happened in one where he ate someone, tore off his head, and grew a new head. He's a tough cookie to deal with. I would not want to be pursued by the Jeepers Creepers or the Jeepers Creeper in any way, shape, or form. He looks very cool, but he would not look cool coming after me. All right? No way. And there's only one plan I would have, one thing to do if the Jeepers Creeper was after me, and that would be to die. There's no way. It doesn't matter what you do. He's fast, he's strong, he can fly, he's got weapons, he's intelligent, he's smart, he can reason. Yeah, that's my only plan. Probably to stand there and say right off the bat, man, hey, you win. Just make it quick, whatever you're going to do, because, if I try to fight back, I'm only prolonging the inevitable. Although in cases like that, you could blow yourself up or some such thing, because the myth of the movie is if he eats you, if he eats a part of you, you become a part of him, like your consciousness is trapped in the creeper. So I don't know if I would want that. In fact, I know I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to be my consciousness trapped in some man-eating creature for as long as this thing exists and lives. I don't know. That would take some philosophical debate there to say, is it better to go by your own hand at that point than to be devoured body and soul possibly by this thing? So there's kind of a philosophical brain teaser question. What would you do? Would you try to fight back? Would you just give up? Or would you say, hey, there's no way to stop this thing. God forgive me, but hey, man, I'm driving over that cliff over there, or whatever the case may be. Either way, very unpleasant, very dark scenario to be in. Yeah, that one twists my brain a little bit. So again, what would you guys out there do if faced with the Jeepers Creeper? And lastly, just in the last few seconds here, we will give honorable mention to Friday the 13th's very own Jason Voorhees. Classic horror movie, iconic creature, serial killer, hacker-upper. People love to watch the Friday the 13th at Halloween time. For me, he's pretty much the same as Michael Myers. You either try to, dismember, slow him down, keep away. But are you successful or not? He doesn't seem in some instances to be as fast as Michael Myers, but he's a lot bigger. I would venture to say maybe even stronger. So he would be a tough cookie to handle. And again, that's probably a fight that I'm hitting the canvas. I'm not getting back up. Jason probably wins in the first round or two by knockout. But that's not to mention all the other creepy Halloween monsters that people enjoy this time of year. The witches, the vampire, ghosts, the headless horseman of Sleepy Hollow, one of my all-time favorite stories. What if such a thing like him, he was after you, after your head? Well, he's on a horse. I haven't ridden a pony since I was a little kid, so even if I had a horse, good luck to me. I'm going to say headless horseman by a landslide. If I had a car, that's a different story. I mean, what's the legend? If you cross a certain bridge, he disappears. He can't cross over the water. He can't get you. So naturally, I would try to make it to the water to cross the bridge. Depending on my mode of transportation, that would decide whether I make it or not, I suppose. But there's a lot of ghouls and creatures of the night out there when it comes to Halloween. What are some of your favorites? And what would you do if they were after you? Do you think you would survive? Do you think you would not survive? Would you be scared? Would you be brave? Would you have faith that no matter what, you're going to be okay? How do you think you would fare against these Hollywood monsters if they were real? And again, not to mention all the other creatures out there, the goblins and the witches and the ghosts and the haunted forests and all sorts of crazy things and stories that you hear about at Halloween time. All I can say, folks, is that I enjoy Halloween. I enjoy watching these creatures on the big screen, the little screen at home at Halloween time. But I, for one, am very happy that they're not out there walking around in the streets or the woods or flying through the air or creeping through my backyard or trying to get into my house to get me. Thank goodness it's all make-believe. Or is it? Happy Halloween, everyone. I'll see you next time here on the Spirit Side.